Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I'm happy to be live with you, and I hope that this is going to take a very short time. But I want to first of all apologize for the few minutes late start, and so I invite you to share. So that we can be able to get a few people, and then we start. You just bear with me because I'm trying to understand how this works with the computer. So right now I'm using my phone. And so I'm still going to learn that. So please, I beg you to share this. I want you to share this so that we can be able to get to as many people as possible, and then we can be able to do our discussion. Please share. Please, when you come, just share. You can see what I have to be talking about. I posted what I'll be talking about, and I want you to know what I'm talking about so that you can share, you can have confidence, and you can share, because we want to have as many people as possible hear the kind of information that we want to pass across social media, the kind of communication that we want to do. We have to use this platform positively to help to heal our families, to heal our nation, to heal our people. We have to be able to use this kind of means to support ourselves, to become stronger, to become healthier, to become happier. Please share. Also indicate if you can hear me, just for me to know that everything is in order. Also indicate if you can hear me so that I can know in the comments if everything is in order. Please. Share as you come online. Share as you come online. Share as you come online, and then you can also share on WhatsApp, on other social media platforms, and have people further share. So please also comment. I see Gamje Stanley, Nyoyunda, Mr. Stanley, welcome. Please, Manjo Vicky, welcome. Please just share. Let's have a few people come on board. I really want to communicate some of these messages, and this is one of the first live videos that I want to do, and I want to really have the message go out. This is something I'm starting, and I don't have any intentions of repenting from doing. And so I want you to be able to share. If you want me to constitute part of the team that shares out important information to help our people stay healthy, stay secure, stay productive, to heal our nation, to spare us a lot of the kinds of troubles we have, please join and share so that we can share this information. If you're coming in, please, I can see Mr. Peter Tar. Mr. Peter Tar, welcome, sir. So in order to go right away, I believe that we're going to have this message go far and wide, but today I want to just share with you some 10 reasons that inspired me a few days ago. A lot of people do not really understand what it means to be going through the social crisis that are happening in the northwest and the southwest regions in Cameroon. It is actually a policy for some people to be silent about it. It has become like a security measure for some people to be very silent about it. And I have thought long and hard about this before I'm coming out on social media to actually make some information go across about the crisis and some of the opinions and the beliefs that I have and that I want to share. I want to share these because I realize silence is not the answer. We have to influence the way things are going. We cannot stay quiet and allow things in the hands of fate or in the hands of people that we ourselves do not even trust to be able to handle anything. People who don't even handle their lives well are influencing the life of more than 24 million people on a daily basis. And I think this is completely not acceptable in my sight. I cannot sit quiet and sit and allow that the narrative of the kind of place my children live in is dictated by people who do not really share some of the values that I share. I like to see a community where my children live, where they grow, where they play, where they work, and where they become productive. I want to see a community where the life of our children, the life of the future of my community is bright. I am not going to be silent. I'm not going to be silenced. I am not going to be quiet. I have to make a move that assists to stop what is going on. I cannot stay silent because I want what is going on to end. I want what is going on to end. So if you're joining me and you also want what is going on to end, I want you to share. Share it because we all want what is going on to end. We want it to end. We want to have a situation where things are better. So I'll just go straight to sharing 10 reasons why we should all join hands to cause a gravitation towards the end of the crisis. The key word in this session is about everybody doing something to end the crisis. Everybody doing something to end the crisis. We want to end the crisis. That's the key thing. It has to end. It had a start and it should have an end. It should end. That is where we should be going to. And I'm tired of people being silent, and I'm tired of the good people being silent. I'm tired of people allowing things to be influenced by people who are not going to offer any good for our society, for our children, and a lot of proofs are there. We have been in this problem for too long, and it is affecting our lives. So please share, as I have requested. Please share this video. I plead with you to share so that we can have this discussion. 10 reasons why we should all join hands to end the so-called crisis. 10 reasons. Now, if you have a child that is actually living in the northwest and the southwest regions in Cameroon, you will be pitiful. You will be pitiful because there are so many things that are going on that are touching our lives that are very hurtful and very painful, practically very difficult. My brother Peter made a very, very good case a few days ago about the fact that people no longer care for humanity, human blood, human life. When did we come to this point where people no longer care about the blood of the human being, the blood of the human being? We have come to that point where it actually really means nothing. And really, even if it means something, we have to try to realize that the blood of the humans is sacred, and as much as possible we have to all help to gravitate towards the end of what is going on. Now, the first reason I think we have to have this crisis end is that children cannot currently go to school safely. It is a fact that our children who used to go to school safely are not able to go to school inside safety. That is the first reason I think we have to all realize that we all have a role to play to make this crisis to end. If you thought you have no role, think about it. Think about the fact that our children are not going to school. It is a fact that they are not going to school. They are at home. Many are at home. I come from Bamenda, where some of the few schools that are open, the few children that go there still go in fear. The parents of those children are still in fear. And majority of the schools are not open. Majority of the schools are there. They're not. It is. In fact, there are some places that that are unreachable. So the very first reason why someone should be concerned about the fact that this crisis still persists, still exists, is that children aren't really going to school. Go to Bambili and see what is going on there. It is hard. It is difficult. So first reason why we need to be thinking about our own role in ending the crisis is that our own children are not going to school. This is bad for their future. This is bad for their future. Ask yourself, what about their future? The fact that children are not going to school, we need to think about the fact that their future is in jeopardy. It's a very serious fact. Their future is in jeopardy. I'm not like asking questions. I'm saying that once a child is not going to school, we have to begin to think about ending the crisis. It's important to end the crisis because children have to go to school. If children have to go to school in safety, then we have to look at the fact that the crisis is affecting children's school, and hence we all have a reason to say, why should the crisis persist? We all have a reason to say we must do something. You must do your little thing at your corner to make sure that you influence towards the end of this crisis. The second reason why we must join hands, why we must not be indifferent, whether you are, whoever you are, we have to realize that people are suffering. That's the second reason. People are suffering. People are suffering. Food is getting short. People are suffering. There is really a lot of suffering. People are agonizing in different ways. People are constantly in fear. People are in different kinds of suffering. I mean, I have different kinds of cases of examples where people are suffering different kinds of things because of the crisis. Financially, people are suffering. Food-wise, people are suffering. Emotionally, people are suffering. Physically, people are suffering. People are going through pain because of this crisis. And so I don't see any reason why a reasonable person would not think for 1 minute that it is important for this crisis to end, and not only end at thinking, but move towards trying to influence towards the end of the crisis. The third reason is because we have what we call refugees. Can you imagine for a minute if you are a refugee? Refugees are people who have run away from their own land to be able to go elsewhere because they cannot live in their own place because of war. And the reality is that whether we like it or not, now we have what we call refugees. And I'm asking myself, just the fact that there exist refugees, we should be thinking, we're not the first to have refugees. But yes, there are refugees, and being a refugee is not an achievement. Being a refugee is a problem that needs to be solved. What if it was your mother or your father or your uncle or your brother or your sister? What if you were the one who was a refugee? Wouldn't you want to come back? So we need to think about the fact that we have refugees, and therefore that is one reason why you should try in your own little corner to do something that moves this crisis to an end. The fourth reason why we should join hands to move this crisis to an end is that we have people in the bushes. We have people in the bushes. We have people in the bushes. Think about it. It's rainy season, and we have people who are going to be in the bushes. They're struggling to cover themselves with plantain leaves. A snake could bite a child, could bite someone, and some people don't even realize that really, there are people in the bushes. That's the fact. Some people don't even have a clue that really, truly, we're talking like this, there are really people living in the bushes. I had the opportunity, the privilege to travel from Motengene to Kumba, and I was amazed at how people had left their houses near the road and gone right into the bushes. I don't really care about what or elaborating around what made them to go into the bushes. The news media can elaborate on that. But as far as I'm concerned, what I want us to realize is that there are people who are living in a very terrible situation inside bushes. And this is not a matter we should be celebrating. This is not a matter we should be sitting quiet and silent about. This is a matter that calls for concern. It's something that calls for us to think about our role in this community, in this life, in this nation. What somebody says, what have you done for your nation? Not what has the nation done for you. The small role you can play is to influence, or the small role you can play to influence us to end this crisis is as little as a mustard seed. You can do something that gravitates us towards ending this crisis, not towards further destroying what is left of us. That's another reason. Another reason why we should think about ending this crisis, we should contribute to ending this crisis, is that we have IDPs. We have internally displaced people. Have you gone to other regions and other cities and seen 12 people living in one house? It's just difficult. And some of those houses don't even have food. You have 12 people living in one house, in somebody's house, somebody who never even thought they can have 5 people in their houses, 6 people in their houses, but now you have someone hosting 12 people. And it's not one family, it's not 2 families. There are so many families that are facing the influx of people into their houses. People are struggling to have ends meet. Things are getting expensive and difficult. And so I don't know why people sit indifferent and think it is holy. Why people sit indifferent and think, I'm not saying you should come out and do what I'm doing right now on social media. No. I'm simply saying, even if you have to do the little you can do, I want you to be very intentional about trying to influence things towards the end of the crisis. Don't just sit and say it's another person's responsibility to end it. No. I want us to think about our personal responsibility, not just group responsibility, but personal responsibility towards trying to gravitate things towards the ending of this crisis. No indifference. Nobody is permitted to be indifferent. We have to end this crisis. And the 6th reason is that we don't have any economic growth with the crisis. We sit here, we admire Dubai, we admire Europe, we admire the USA, we admire Ghana, we admire South Africa, we admire other countries. Yes, some of them might have gone through terrible scenarios to be where they are. But the fact is that even when they started growing, they could not have grown if their wars and their challenges persisted. We have to realize that with this crisis, we cannot grow economically, we cannot grow socially, we cannot grow. If we want to grow tomorrow and we want to see ourselves as a better nation tomorrow, as a great nation tomorrow, if we want many people to fly into our nation and see our beaches and see our tourism sites and see our mountains and see how great we are and see wonderful people that we are and experience the atmosphere of our own country, then we have to stop the damn crisis. Everybody has to realize that we are destroying our own ability to be strong economically, and for a long time we will be weak economically. In the world, we will be weak, and when we are weak, we are not strong. We have to realize that the crisis is not doing good for any of our plans to grow. If we had plans to build a skyscraper, if we had plans to build a railway, if we had plans to have airplanes that do interregional transport, if we had plans to make our own country great again, like the president of the US says about his own country, that he wants to make America great again. If we have plans to make our own country great again, then we have to realize that we all have to try to see that an end to this crisis comes. We need to do something at individual level. You need to not be indifferent. You have to try to see that whatever you do, see that the power of your influence as an individual can influence towards the direction of ending this crisis, because once the crisis ends, we are going to have back economic growth. Many people cannot do agriculture. We all live from agriculture. We all live from food. We all need those who build, those who sell, and those who grow the food that we eat. But if there is crisis, nobody can go to the farms. Nobody can create an agricultural complex or an industry. Nobody can bring their potential car industries and install in your economy, because you are fighting, because you are in turmoil. Nobody can bring any viable things that can improve our economy. We cannot have improved economy if we do not see the need for us to find a way to end the crisis. And the seventh point is that we are constantly so far giving an opportunity for thieves in our community. My observation has been that within the crisis situation, we have given, because of the presence of the crisis, there has been a serious opportunity for people we call thieves to take over and do a lot of harm to us. A lot of people, a lot of children, a lot of youths have taken the opportunity, and they are creating serious havoc in our community. Evil things are taking opportunity of the continuation of crisis, and I think we need to realize that everybody has to fight for the end of the crisis. Evil thrives because of this crisis. Evil is increasing on a daily basis because of this crisis. Thieves are increasing because of this crisis. You have thieves in quarters, you have thieves in villages, you have thieves in towns. They are increasing, and nobody is safe with the presence of thieves. Nobody is safe with the presence of the increasing amount of evil. I have one of my senior leaders who always indicates to us that once there are crises like this, some people take the opportunity and revenge. People take the opportunity of crisis like this and revenge, and do revenge on things that are not even related to the crisis. People take the chance and come to your house and they can even blindfold themselves, and only to revenge. People take revenge on people because of the opportunity created by crisis. So we need to realize that everybody has to find a way to contribute to the end of the crisis. We are giving opportunity to evil, we are giving opportunity to thieves. The crisis is creating a fertile environment for us to breed the kinds of people that we don't want in our society. We are breeding people that are not supposed to be in the community. They are growing. People with vices. I learned recently about the fact that before the Biafra war, there was really nothing like kidnapping. Can you imagine taking someone hostage for someone else to pay money so that you can have money? I mean, this is what we have created. This is what has been created because the crisis is present. So we have to see what to do at our individual levels as a must and as a necessity and as a commitment, as a sign of contribution to the community in which you live to end the crisis. It should be a mantra, not a complaint. It should be it should be an inspiration for you to decide that I want to be able to contribute towards ending this crisis, my own little part. And I'll tell you about how to do that in a moment. We are confusing each other. We should end this crisis because we are confusing each other. We have brothers and sisters who are living in the diaspora abroad who do not even know where they are going to come back to as far as their home families are concerned. They don't even know when they are going to come back to their home families. They have no hopes of coming back. We have brothers and sisters who are themselves confused and fighting each other for no good reason. Absolutely no good reason. And we are allowing this to happen. If each and every member of the community decides that we will contribute our own small share in our own little corner, Martin Luther King Jr. said, if you cannot fly, you can run. And if you cannot run, you can crawl. If you cannot run, you can walk. If you cannot walk, you can crawl. And whatever you can, continue doing. Just continue walking forward. Continue moving forward. We are really in a terrible situation, and we have to see that this ends. We are confusing each other. We are confusing each other. We have to have this crisis end because we have people in jail. We have people in jail. It's not fun to be in jail because you were in the wrong place at the wrong time, or you're in the wrong place or at the right time, or whatever it is. It is not easy to be in jail for whatever reason. I mean, except for reasons for which truly you should be in jail, it is not easy to be in jail. And we have to realize that we have thousands of people who are detained, and it is only an end to this crisis that will cause some people to see their loved ones. Please, a lot of good people are indifferent, and we are allowing the narrative of our future. We are allowing the designers of our future to be a good number of people that do not carry any weight, that do not have to decide what kind of community we want and what kind of community we should live in. We cannot continue to allow the kind of community that we should live in to be decided by people whose aims and purposes we do not have an idea. We do not have substantial proof about who they really are in terms of their honesty, their integrity. We constantly watch Facebook lives and a lot of things that come out from a lot of people because we want to hear news and we want to see who is doing what to end the crisis. But I think we have to realize that the power of making sure that the communities we want become lies in the hands of each and every person, but not in the hands of a few people. Talk less of in the hands of a few people in the diaspora. And this is angering me a lot because I see a lot of influence towards a direction that is risky, towards a very risky direction. And so we have people who are suffering. Those are some of the reasons why we need to participate in ending this crisis. And right now, I want to talk about the second point, which is concerning what dialogue really is. A lot of people have heard a lot of people, or many people, calling for dialogue to end the so-called crisis. And I'm so concerned that so many people do not really even understand what this dialogue means. And today I was participating in the first session of our community solutions program and one of the lessons was really about dialogue, what dialogue really is. And I was amazed and surprised that I myself did not understand what dialogue is. And so I decided to come live to really help the people listening to me to know what dialogue means. We are thinking of something else. And I'm afraid to say that the two sides that are being called upon by the US, by the UN, by Congress, by many stakeholders, the two sides do not even, I don't want to say they don't understand what dialogue is, but I feel that majority of people, including many leaders, do not understand what dialogue is. And if we really understood what dialogue is, first, we will be at peace and we will do all it takes to have this dialogue happen. I want to tell us something, that for the US Congress to call for dialogue and for repeated calls for dialogue to happen, it means that dialogue is very important to start with. But no one will understand how important dialogue is when they don't really know what dialogue really is about. That's why I'm coming out to try to put this video to tell us what dialogue really is. Many people feel dialogue is, from the word dialogue, that it's about two people talking. Yes, it's about two people talking to each other, but it's more than that. So many people also misconceive dialogue to mean an argument. When you perceive about dialogue, imagine the two people in question on a table. What do you really think it would look like if they were to dialogue? What do you think it would look like? I want to first of all clarify that dialogue is not a debate. Dialogue is not a debate. By definition, dialogue means learning from each other. If you are to take one thing from this live session, take the meaning of dialogue. Dialogue means learning from each other, which means if two people sit to dialogue, it is not about saying who, and okay, if dialogue is not about debate and it's about learning from each other, then it's not about winning. Dialogue is not about who has won. It's not about who has won. So if you hear people calling for dialogue, it means that they want the two sides to sit together on the table, not to win each other, but to learn from each other. And my question has been, what are we going to be learning from each other? What is former West Cameroon going to be learning from the government of Cameroon? Or let me not say former West Cameroon. Let me say what is the people from the other side who have a problem with the other people from the other side? What are they going to be learning from each other? So if I were to take, for example, to mimic a dialogue table between Southern Cameroons and La République du Cameroun, if I were to mirror those two in terms of dialogue, what dialogue means is that the two people have to learn from each other. It doesn't mean that one person should win the other person. It is not a contest for winning. Secondly, it is not an argument. Dialogue is not an argument. Sitting on the dialogue table does not mean that the two people who have a problem are going to sit and argue each other. That is not the meaning of dialogue. It doesn't mean they are going to come and have a debate, to be debating each other. No, that's not the meaning of dialogue. And dialogue must be facilitated, well facilitated and well coordinated. If dialogue is not well facilitated and well coordinated, it can lead to chaos. Nobody wants dialogue to end in chaos. Everybody wants dialogue to end in an understanding, in consensus, in mutual understanding. If we have mutual understanding between two warring parties, that mutual understanding means that the two warring parties will agree on something. They will learn from each other and learn from each other to the point where they will agree on something. That is what dialogue means. So dialogue doesn't mean they are coming to argue. Dialogue doesn't mean they are coming to debate and win each other. Dialogue means that the two people are going to come and sit together and they are going to discuss, they are going to talk with each other, they are going to learn from each other. My question now is, what is, for example, one party, in the case of Cameroon, what are the parties going to be learning from each other? This is how it goes. One party is going to say, this is what I know. The other party is going to say, this is what I know. And the other party is going to learn from the other party what the other party is thinking. It's very, very possible that one party could be saying, okay, this is what you have done to me. And the other party doesn't know that this is what has been done to the person. It only takes a dialogue for this other person to listen to this other person and hear them out and learn from them that this is what has happened to them. If you do not dialogue, you cannot have first-hand, authentic information from the other party about their feelings, about what they care about their concerns. And both parties have concerns. One party has this concern, the other party has that concern. Dialogue means that the two people come and talk and learn from each other. The key word in dialogue is learning from each other. It is not fighting each other or argument with each other. And this brings into very good perspective or into very good necessity facilitators of dialogue. A facilitator of dialogue is not any kind of person. It's a trained person. Before dialogue can be facilitated, the facilitator of the dialogue must be a trained facilitator. Trained means that you acquire skills, knowledge, understanding about how to cause a dialogue to happen. That means that two people who have to dialogue must have a well-trained facilitator of the dialogue for the dialogue to happen and successfully, because dialogue is important. If dialogue is important and can solve problems as truly it can, from the depth of wisdom and from the depth of understanding, it is very clear. It is very clear. Even historically, a lot of problems have ended with dialogue, with solving. And one of the things I learned yesterday was that this thing they say without preconditions, I think it's reasonable. It's reasonable. Without preconditions simply means that just come to the table. Just come to the table. Don't say this must be done before you come to the table. No. If the dialogue facilitator is ready and available, come to the table. Finished. Come to the table and sit and talk. You are wasting the time of precious children who have to go to school. You are wasting the time of precious parents who have to go to work. You are wasting the time of people who have to be productive in their lives and enjoy the fruits of their labor and enjoy the fruits of their productivity and have a good life, a good time in future and reach 60, 70 years having achieved a lot. You are wasting the time of and the lives of individuals by not dialoguing. We have to be able to promote and facilitate that dialogue should happen, because dialogue is the key. Dialogue is the solution. Dialogue is the way to end the crisis. Dialogue is what should cause the crisis to end. I hear some people say, no, we are going for negotiation, not dialogue. That is just trying to create more problems. I don't care whether you're going for negotiation. Go to the dialogue table and it should be at the dialogue table that you would decide that now is that negotiation is the best thing to move on. Be on the dialogue table before you replace the word dialogue with any other thing, because the word dialogue is not about you. It's about the fact that problems can be solved when people sit to learn from each other what their pain is, what they are feeling, what the problem is. People can learn from each other what the problem is, and then the solution can come forth. The solution will not be far-fetched when people sit to talk on the issues. And this is the problem we have, that we are having a situation which can be solved by dialogue, yet people are not going to the table to talk. My submission is that people should go to the table and talk. Sit and talk. Express your concerns and talk. It doesn't matter what the other person is trying to do or to think. I've heard, for example, allegations that, okay, it's not about, we're not going to the table because these people are going to separate. And then these people are saying, okay, we're not going to the table except to go and separate. This is the problem. This is the problem. And folks, guys, everyone in the community, if you are not the government and you are not the separatists, hear me out. You hold the key to this thing happen. It's just like what we should call accountability. We need to hold every leader that we put into leadership accountable for what they are doing with us. And that is the reason why, as the people, we have to ask everybody, it doesn't matter who, to go to the table. They should go to the table and talk. They should stop wasting our life. They should stop wasting our time. Why are they wasting our time? And why are our lives being wasted? They should go to the table and have a discussion. They should have a talk. Sit down and say, this is what I think. Sit down and say, this is what you want, but this is what I want. Sit down and say, this is what is happening, and this is what is happening. Sit down and talk. We want to hear the news, the information coming out that there is a sit down and a talking. Why are we destroying ourselves, our lives, our country, our future, our children, our children's children are crying unborn. They are crying unborn because even it's like we're sucking out the life from them even when they are not yet born, because we're sitting down there and it's as if we're enjoying the scenario. We cannot enjoy this scenario. We cannot continue to enjoy this scenario. And I say no, and I want you to join me to say no, because if my junior brother who is killed is not too young to die, then he is not too young to participate in causing the government and whosoever is against the government to sit and talk if the situation has reached this stage. Come on, when is it going to end? When is it going to end? This broadcast is about mobilizing us who may be thinking that we have no role to play or no reason to play any role at all, or who may be discouraged enough to think that we have nothing we can do to facilitate an end to this crisis, to know that we should and we can and we should facilitate the end to this crisis. You don't have to be the UN Secretary General to facilitate the end to this crisis at your own level. You don't have to be. I did not take permission from the UN Secretary General before doing this particular video. I did not take permission. But if this video goes to all grandmothers, to all brothers and sisters, to all the people of reason, they will know in their various places, in their various corners, in their high places and in their middle places and their low places, they will know what to do with their neighbor. They will know exactly what to do with their leaders. They will know exactly what to do with wherever their leader is. They will know what to do to cause the dialogue to happen, because this thing doesn't touch one person. This thing is not a Mark Barretta thing. It is not a Minister Paul Atangaji thing. It is not a President Paul Biya thing. It is not an Agbobala thing. It is not a Mamfe thing. It is not a thing of a particular person or tribe no. We're talking about something that affects more than 25 million people. We're talking about something that practically is stealing life away from people, something that is destroying lives from people. Let's think about it. And the last part of this session of today, I want to talk about what you can do. I've talked about the fact that we need to all do something. I talked with a medical doctor and I said, please, can we all just allow what we are doing and focus on ending this crisis before we come back to what we are doing? And the medical doctor told me, well, but you know, we in the hospital, we have to still be treating people who are being shot or people who have problems. For some of us, we cannot but continue to work. And I said, well, that's fine. Truly, yes, some people will have to continue to work. But I submit to you that we all have to realize that we are in a position where it is not about some particular people trying to do something. No, I think we are becoming too careless with our lives not to make sure that we all try to see what can be done. And so I want to go to what we should do as an individual. Even unborn babies need to do something. I'm telling you the truth. I think even unborn babies, wherever they are, whether they're in heaven, they should be praying. And if unborn babies should be praying, what about you who is already born? I want to start with prayer. We should pray. I want you to know that the people who founded countries like America that are great founded it on Judeo-Christian values. They founded it on morality. They founded it on values that were strong, foundational values that were strong enough to sustain such countries up till today and through strange moments. I want you to realize that prayer is not a key for the weak. Some people say all we can do is pray, as if prayer is the last thing that should be done. No. Prayer is not the last thing that should be done. Prayer is not the first thing that should be done. In fact, prayer is, yes, the very first thing that should be done, but it should be the continuous thing that should be done. So I am exhorting pastors, I am exhorting Christians at individual levels and at corporate levels to allow themselves in the spirit realm so that they can utter words that affect the spiritual atmosphere of the country and change it dramatically, continuously, permanently, persistently, until we see the physical change. Praying until something happens. That is the formula. We must continue praying. That's the first thing that we all must do. And you don't need permission to pray. You don't need permission from anybody. You don't need permission from whoever is on whichever of the sides to pray. All you need is to be able to submit yourself to your knees and to your room to pray. Remember that to pray, the Bible says we should go into our room, close the door, go inside our room. It is a private affair, and the God who sees in secret will hear in secret and reward you openly. It doesn't say reward you in secret. No. God rewards those who are praying openly. So my challenge to you as an individual is that one of the first things you should do if you are a Christian, if you believe in prayer, if you believe that you can influence from high to low places with prayer, I want you to realize that you can go on your knees and you can move the situation. You can move the situation. We can move the situation on our knees. If you hear that there is a prayer for the nation program, gravitate to that place. Move there and ragabashantais. Go there and pray. Sit in your room. Create a time, a committed time, personally. Contribute to the end of this crisis by praying. Sit alone and pray. Pray alone. Pray. Lift up your voice to heaven and ask for things to come down. Ask for God to move in his spirit in the hearts of people. It doesn't matter who. And you will see a wonder. More people should be praying. Individuals should be praying. Masses of individuals should be praying. Prayer should be the key. Prayer should be so rampant, so present, that it should be like insecticides sprayed, and insects cannot survive with insecticides. That's how prayer should be. We should pray seriously and make sure that prayer happens permanently, persistently, consistently. We should pray. We should pray for the situation. The second thing that you can do to end this crisis is that you should try as much as possible to not contribute to what they call hate speech. Don't contribute to hate speech. Don't insult people. No matter what, don't begin to insult people. Don't call people names. Don't subscribe to the cheap, smart slinging thing. Don't begin to contribute to punches and fights that are not necessary. Your own contribution towards hate speech is a fueling of the terrible things that are going on. It's not only hate speech that you should try to watch out not to contribute to. If you are someone who is trying to benefit from this crisis, you are contributing to this crisis. You are not helping it to end, to bring people back to normal life. You are contributing negatively to the crisis. I talked about thieves that have emerged from nowhere and seen the platform where they should now be stealing from people's houses. We need to realize that if you are contributing in hate speech, in stealing, in forming whatever kind of terrible other groups in the community, that is a crime. That is evil. It doesn't matter whether it's because you're hungry or whatever. If you are contributing to this crisis by committing any crimes or doing any forms of evil, know that you are not helping the situation at all. I mean, why would a thief even risk their life to be stealing but within the crisis if they are not very, if they don't lack sense? You should even try to have the crisis end so that if you were to steal, or if you must steal, you should steal in an environment that is even more peaceful, that is wiser. It is more dangerous. In fact, that's to show the extent to which the human being is capable of evil. And I'm calling on the good people to realize that your silence is part of that evil. And it's not just about your silence as in the fact that you're not vocal, like one may define vocality. No. I mean your silence in the sense that one thing, two things, three things, four things pass by your nose, pass by your door, pass by your eyes, and yet you are not able to address it because you feel that you are safer in not even being a part in one way or the other. No. Whether you like it or not, the bread, the water you drink, the bread you eat, even the air you breathe is affected by the pollution of this crisis. And your decision to be indifferent is not different from the decision of a lot of people to contribute negatively to continue to fuel this crisis so that they may be able to benefit in one way or the other from the blood and from the evil thing that is happening to people's lives. So everybody has a reason why we should contribute to ending this crisis. And lastly, the way you can contribute to this crisis is to stay safe. Stay safe. Stay safe. Stay safe. Keep to security measures. Simple security tips. If you are not alive, you will not be alive to try to cause the end to the crisis. If you are not alive, you will not even be alive to see the fruit of your labor in trying to cause the end of this crisis. If you are not alive, you will not be alive to celebrate even a joy, the simple joy of seeing people finally realize themselves and stop punching each other and destroying each other's lives. Please, human life is important. It's important to God. And it's important. Every man is a son to a mother. Every woman is a daughter to someone. There are sons who have fathers, and there are daughters who are actually children of fathers and of mothers. And the fathers and the mothers are experiencing the pain of the death of those. And there is really no reason for all of this to be happening. We need to tighten our belts. Each one in their corner. I want you to, when you listen to anything, think well. Whether it's coming from which of the sides, as an individual, think well before you act. Which of the sides, whichever of the sides, think well before you act. Before you even make a statement, think well. Because you will either be fueling or ending the crisis. Make sure that every action of yours is ending the crisis. And we all should join people of goodwill. I think even the international community, to say those who are so strongly holding to their own ends of the rope, and we, the many in the middle, are suffering the pain and the pangs of what is going on in this crisis. We should not only warn them all, but we should ask them simply and with the strength that comes from our collective need, our collective dignity. And we should demand from them all, because this is what they must give. They should give. This is what they should give. This is the only gift they can give at this moment to people, is that we want to hear all of them sit at the table and talk and dialogue. We have heard about whatever negotiations happening anywhere, or dialogue facilitations, whatever. Let that thing shouldn't waste 1 minute. They should all go and talk. Otherwise, the pains that we are facing, we will face more, and nobody wants that. Nobody wants that. My prayer is that after all of this, we all shall be able to praise the Lord in the land of the living, be stronger together, be stronger especially in the Lord, not out of the Lord, in the Lord, in His kingdom. We will be stronger to spread the gospel message. We will be stronger together to expand the kingdom of God and His righteousness all over the place and even out of the country. Thank you very much for being part of this broadcast. And it was Heal the Nation. Heal the Nation. Heal the Nation is the name of this broadcast. And feel free to share, feel free to replay and hear what we have discussed about. Thank you very much, and have a beautiful day.